Well, once again,
All
ladies and
right.
gentlemen, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're streaming in from with us. Peggy Simpson here. My name is Bart Bartlett, and this is Baby Steps, Building a Better You. And as you know, we profiled 6 books in detail last several weeks, and then we thought we would each take a day, 3 questions each, so that powerful number 6 again, and ask someone a question based on what we learned. And today is Peggy's turn, and I'm nervous, so go ahead.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. You'll be fine. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to share this platform with my friend Bart. He and I have been together for many years, working together, not working together, but staying connected. So it's always a pleasure. We have a great time doing this. So I guess I'll get started. So over the past few weeks, as you said, we've been discussing some books. And a lot of these books talked about personal development and how to improve yourself or your success, right? Your personal success or your business success. So we all have heard a lot of stories about, people, renowned people, either in personal development or outside, right? Who've had great success. But we clearly know that not everybody is successful, right? Not everybody is world renowned, for sure. Not everybody is necessarily successful for whatever their definition is. And why is that?
Was that your question to me?
That's one of my questions. Why is that? Why do you think that is?
I'm going to use a real personal example, and it's a story that I've not shared with many people, but I may have shared it with you. My dad passed away when I was just a kid. And at the time, it was just my mom and me at home together. My brother had already gone off to college, who I call my mother's other son. That's how close we were and still are. And we lived in a very, very small community. And the church and the school were the 2 centers of that community. And if you weren't at one, you were at the other. And my mom never really worked. She ended up going and working at the school as a teacher's aide, if you will, and ran like the copy machines and those type of things for the teachers and did some AV type stuff with them. When my dad died, the income was gone. I mean, we weren't making hardly any money anyway. And right before his death, they finally bought their first home. Before that, we lived in what's called a teacherage, which means the school owned the home. It was on the school campus, and that's where we lived. So I never got away from the school. But why people don't allow themselves to be successful? After my dad died, my mom got really good at staying within boundaries and not venturing out from that, because that was an incredibly safe zone. And I'm sure she was scared. Here was a teenage son, almost teenage son she had at home. She had another kid well off to college somewhere, and here she was by herself. And so she soon saw and learned how to use the community to her advantage for safety. And many people, including myself, said, you could go back to a school. There was a college not even 20 miles away that was pretty much a commuter college. You can go back to college, you can get your teaching degree, you can become a teacher. I mean, she was barely in her late 40s when my dad died. And I said, you still have, 20, 25 years, and really tried to encourage her to go do that. And I said, I'll get a part-time job, which I started cutting grass and mowing grass in the neighborhood for people. But she never did that because she wouldn't get out of this confined little bubble that she had created. And I think that is the number one deterrent to anyone not being successful, is they won't take a risk, because the risk is the unknown.
The fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
And you start to develop a true comfort level with where you are and where you're living, to the point that she became quite good at using whatever resource she had available for her in order to survive, whether it be people brought her food from their gardens or one of my, and I love this story, one of my across the street neighbors raised chickens, and they had chicken feed sacks, and then feed sacks came in 100% cotton and had prints all over them. And my mother would take those feed sacks, and it took 2 feed sacks that looked just alike, and she would make me shirts. And that's what I wore because we couldn't afford to go buy a shirt.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so that was part of it, and we didn't have like Goodwill back then and little places to go in secondhand stores. It was a very small country community, but she did that, and then people saw what she was doing, and they would say, "Well, can you make me this or that, me this?" And she would do some things like that, and whatever they gave her, $1, $2, whatever it was back then, that's what she took. And so for me, looking at that. At the time, I always thought, "Ma, you could do so much more. You could be so much more successful than you are." But I think for her, that was her definition of success, and she was okay to live within it. Because fear did play a major role in everything she did. Everything she did.
Yeah, I would agree with you that I think the fear of the unknown, the fear of the risk, of what may happen, the fear of failure. I think the fear is a major stumbling block. And that was sort of a leading question to get us to the topic instead of me just talking. So we're currently in a situation, right? A pandemic, and people are faced with some pretty desperate situations.
Right.
And yet may still have fears, right? Given some of what we've learned from these books, how are there 2 or 3 things that actions that you could suggest to them of how to take those first steps for people who don't know how, or maybe they're too afraid? How do they overcome their fear?
Yeah, in fact, this morning we were on a training call, and the gentleman that was doing the training this morning said something that I used to talk about a lot with people that I work with, and I haven't heard it or used it in quite some time. And I think it's perfect for right now, how you do this. Many people think the way you get ahead when you're in this particular situation is that if I could have this right now, then I could do this and I could become this person. I could be successful. You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
I know exactly where you're going.
So if I have this, I can do this and I can be this. And it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
And then they think, okay, it didn't work that way. So let me do this first, and then I'll have this and I can be this. And it doesn't work that way either. It all starts with being. You got to know for yourself. You got to be someone. So the thing that came out and resonated the most with me from all 6 of these books is you got to be the best version of yourself. Once you become and you are being the best version of yourself, then you can do the things necessary in order to have the things that you're really striving to. It's a be, do, have principle.
Totally agree. And part of that be yourself, you have to believe that you are worthy.
What's the first 2 letters of believe?
That's right. You have to believe that you deserve.
Yes.
Right? Don't let the negativity, don't let the current situation keep you from seeing beyond where you are. You have to believe. And I think that's, so many times we see people reach great heights from very low beginnings, right? From the hood to good, Johnny Wimbrey's story.
Love that.
Les Brown, right? And he says you have to be hungry. And what he means by that, I think, is you have to believe, you have to want something bigger than where you are. And it has to be a very internal need. that you won't let go of.
Right.
In order for you to really, and that's what the real passion comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to necessarily be down and out, but you have to be so, I think, fed up
Mm-hmm.
that you're willing to reprioritize your fears,
Right.
right? What used to be very fearful, maybe too high of a risk, you have to reach some point in your life where you say, I'm going to reprioritize that. I'm going to push through this with a level of fear that doesn't have as much risk for me as maybe I thought it did.
Right. Right. I totally agree with that. In fact, as you were talking, two things came to mind. One, if you take the word impossible and break it down, it's really I'm possible.
Yep.
Take the word believe and break it down, it's be, live. You've
Yep.
got to be yourself in order to live.
Yep.
That's how you break it all down. So you're right. I mean, Johnny Wimbrey's a great example, from the hood to good. I mean, it's not where you came from. That's part of your root structure and who you are. It's like the way I was raised, part of mine. And there's still things of the way I was raised that are triggers in my life today. That's human nature, but it's how
Right.
you react to them, how you
Right.
deal with those that make it happen. One of the people that I just so admire, talked about Les Brown in his story, is Viola Davis. And I can honestly say we're friends on Facebook, but we've never met. But her story, I mean, she is one of the most successful, iconic people in the entertainment industry right now. Movies, television, Broadway, everything. I mean, she's won every award that there is. Wasn't always that way for her. She was born on a plantation and started there. And then they moved outside of Baltimore. And there were, I don't remember how many kids were in their family, but all the kids slept in the top bunk. That way the mice wouldn't crawl over them at night and the rats wouldn't crawl over them. But her mother instilled in her, you can become anything, even in that environment. She went on to middle school, high school, and then got accepted to Carnegie Mellon University, which is probably one of the most elite, hardest universities to get into, and graduated from that. And look what she's created for herself now. It's kind of an Oprah Winfrey story.
Yeah, it is.
And sometimes I think when you have that, when you have something that you thought was really an okay life, and that's the way life was supposed to be, and then you realize there's so much more out there, that gives you a new appreciation that you really understand that be, do, have principle.
Yes, I agree. And I also think that there's a fundamental requirement that not only do you believe you deserve it and you can do something, but I think you have to practice that unselfish thinking and put other people first. As we've said many times, don't chase the money, right? Chase the service, right? Be a servant. And that B section is really the time to prepare and really think about. Don't just be satisfied, I guess, and it doesn't have to be financial wealth that you're looking for. You may have that and you still may not be a success by your definition of success.
Right.
And I agree with you this morning. That phrase actually is what led me to this question, because so many of us sit back and we wish and we say, boy, if I just had, in this current pandemic, if I just had my job back, I'd be okay. Well, I understand if you had your job back, that would solve a financial issue, but it wouldn't solve all your issues. It wouldn't solve all of the things that may be not in sync in your life. Absolutely. Meeting some minimal financial requirements are important for everyone. I get that. But if that isn't an option right now and you're having to, live on other things or with the help of others, then work on the B, work on the me, work on the I part. Get over your fears.
Right.
Get over your worries about stepping away from something and really think of how can you serve? How can you help others and help yourself at the same time? And then put together an action plan. And that's the do.
Absolutely.
That's the do.
Yeah, you had a key word there. and the word is deserve. I really encourage people to take the word want out of your life. I want this. No, replace it with I deserve this. Because when you have be, do, have, it's not be, do, want, it's be, do, have. And the only way you can have something is when you deserve to have it.
Yep, I agree. But also remember what we've learned through some of these books, and it was mentioned in a slightly different way across multiple books. You will be rewarded as big as the solution that you solve in the world,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So when we talk about these things and steps towards success or improving your life, they are truly steps, right? It's not like you have a jetpack on your back and you're going to be propelled into the air. So if I were to sit here and say, I deserve to live in a mansion, I deserve to drive a Lamborghini, which I wouldn't care to, but if I were to say those things, I have to think to myself, what have I done to have those things? Who am I? What am I? In order to have solved any solutions or served anyone, served out to the world any services or help or thought at all. I mean, it's an equation, right? It really kind of is an equation. And if you take one variable out of the equation, it's an inequality.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't equate anymore.
Right.
So all the ingredients, be and do, those have to come together.
Right.
As we've said before, wishes are, dreams without goals.
Exactly.
Yep. So if you don't put that do in there, you are really not in line to expect to have it.
Exactly.
And you deserve, but you deserve according to what you deliver.
Your efforts. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. When you're talking about the Lamborghini, I thought, the gentleman that heads up an organization you and I are both associated with, again, one of those success stories where I grew up out in the projects outside of Tampa, had no reason to become the most successful person that we've ever seen in the market we're in. And what did he do? He got a Lamborghini. And what does his license plate read? I told you so. And it's not an arrogant, I told you so. No. It's an affirmation. I told you so. I knew I could do this. I believed in me. I did the things I needed to do in order to have the things I can have.
Right.
So the I told you so is an affirmation. It's not an arrogant statement.
Right.
And if someone interprets that as arrogant, here's my caution to that. There's only one person you need to compare yourself to, and that's yourself.
Yourself. That's
Quit
right.
comparing yourself to anyone else just because they have a Lamborghini or they have a bigger house or whatever. So what?
Yeah.
That's not where you are and what you need to be doing at this moment.
Yep. And I'd like to say a couple of things about the do.
Yep.
Part of that. Because a lot of people don't know how to set goals.
Right.
Right. I mean, all of us have been guilty of setting New Year's resolutions.
Right.
Right. But people set goals and some people are very good at it. And other people just really don't have any idea of how to set a goal. So as you're looking at what to do, right, put it down in various priorities. Look at your life in priorities. Right. If you are financially strapped right now, and that's the most critical need in order to prepare you to be able to do something else, then you focus there. And you focus there on what is available to you to do. Maybe it's not what you used to do. Maybe it doesn't bring in the income, but look at what's available for you to do with the skills that you possess and the element of risk and availability that you have to do that job. And then take action. Go look for it. Call people up. Right? It's not going to drop in your lap, but we know the unemployment is high, but there are a lot of people hiring, a lot of companies hiring. So if that is your number one need, I mean, there are certain fundamentals, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't have your health, you clearly can't perform much of anything. So health is important. If you can't put food on your table and shelter yourself, those are basic fundamental needs. You must focus there. In the meantime, continue to build up your belief in yourself. Continue to evaluate what skills, what talents you have. How can you serve people while you're still trying to meet your own basic needs? Break things down. You set goals by breaking things down in the areas of your life that need most attention now, with your sights towards the future, and then you rewind it and bring it back to where, what action does it take to take a step towards what you would like to have, and what resources are required to do that. And you continue to break it down. And I would suggest small steps, right? And only one or two. If you've not been good at setting goals, focus on the one or two. And I would say the highest priority, and the second one be the reading. Read to improve yourself, right? Always have to do that. So take one thing and set a date and a specific accomplishment and go for it. Then you just got to go for it. It's got to all out go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, as you were talking about goal setting, one of the cautions, and I'm not gonna say fallacy, but one of the cautions to have, and we got a bunch of people joining us. Shout out to Monica, Patricia, there's Lamar. Hey, Avery, welcome, my friend, up in New York. An actor up in New York is joining us. The caution is this: you will hear a number of people that are successful or have reached or have achieved a certain level of success, and they're asked how do they do it, and they will say, I just put it out to the universe, this is what I wanted to accomplish. Or maybe I asked God, can I need this, and then it happened. Well, here's what really happens when you do that, when you put it out to the universe, when you ask God or superior being, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I want to do. You know what they do? They open the door and they say, okay, what are you going to do next? It doesn't just fall in your lap, like you said. It does not fall in your lap.
No,
you made that declaration, but if you sit there and wait for something to happen, that's not be-do-have. That's do-be-have.
Right.
That's not
right.
be-do-have. That's do-be-have. And pretty soon you'll be going, do-be-do-be-do. Nothing's going to come out of that.
And we're not creating songs. We're not singing here.
That's right. It'd be like Scooby-Doo. It's not going to happen. So that it's one thing to make that statement, and I encourage you to make that statement verbally. You're going to write it down, your goal, but make that statement to the universe, to God, to whomever it is, and put it out there saying, I deserve this.
Yep.
And then take the steps. And what's the first step you take? It's a baby step.
It is.
It's a baby step.
Yep.
And you move forward from there. I mean, one of my favorite quotes, you don't have to see the top of the stairs. You just have to take the first step.
That's right. And then keep taking the steps.
Exactly. Don't skip them because you have a chance of falling and hurting yourself, or you might miss something along the way.
Take the steps.
Yep.
And if you trip, get back up and keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely right.
Yep. So see, it was not a bad question at all.
So I think it's so funny that both of us were inspired by the be-do-have from this morning's call.
Yeah.
And that precipitated your question. That became my response, because that is.
And that was totally unplanned.
But that is the way it works. That is the way it works.
It is. You had no idea what I was going to ask, and I had no idea what you were going to answer.
No.
But yeah, it was that conversation this morning that prompted me to think about, okay, what do you do with all this information, and why are people not successful? It's because they get the equation out of order.
That's exactly right.
Or are missing a variable, and it then is an inequality.
Exactly right.
Yep.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me put this up here to show you we are going to be back here on Tuesday. And when we come back on Tuesday, we're going to wrap up this series with me asking Peggy the 6th and final question. And then we will announce on Tuesday what our plans are coming after that. But it's truly been a delight. We'll be back here at 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time. Tuesday, same time, same channel here. Peggy, final thoughts?
I just hope everyone has a wonderful day. Believe in yourself. Believe that you are worthy, because you are.
Right.
And find the steps you need to take to give you satisfaction and success at wherever you are in your life. Enjoy your Saturday. And I have to give a shout out to the moms tomorrow.
Yes.
You know, if you're a mom, happy Mother's Day. If your mom is still here, make sure you Zoom her, call her,
absolutely.
FaceTime her. If she's not here, like ours are not, I'm sure we'll give them some time in our heart. Just enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you again on Tuesday.
Yes, and tomorrow's a double day for you. So double Mother's Day to you, being a mom and a grandmother. So there you go. It's a double day for you.
It is.
And yeah, just give a shout at that. And as Peggy said, there are many of us who no longer have our moms in our lives, and there's some that never did. And
True.
Doesn't mean that there wasn't a mother there. You got here somehow, you know.
That's right.
And be thankful for that in itself. So until Tuesday, have a great weekend, everyone.
And don't forget your wives too.
That's right.
You know, if they're moms, if they're moms, husbands, take care of your wives.
Hear that, Roy?
Right. He's sitting right here. He heard me. Everyone
have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Tuesday.
Yep. Bye everyone.